thank you very much. The rain has subsided, and we got baseball coming your way tonight from Busch Stadium here in St. Louis. Welcome to St. Louis. Dan Schulman, John Kruk, Kurt Schilling. Very glad you're with us. The Reds are struggling right now. They are not off to a great start the season. Won their first 4. They've lost 6 of their last 7. Meanwhile, the Cardinals are doing what the Cardinals do. They're just winning ball games. Let's start with the Cincinnati Reds. If there is some good news early for the Reds, their best hitter starting to look like himself again.
Yeah, he's back to his MVP form, and we'll take a look at him right here. Compared to last year, 2014, 2015, you see in 14 the wide base, 15 more upright, little shorter, back leg, even weight in 2014, 2015. 70-30, hands close in 2014, hands away from his body in 2015. And what that tells you, when I talked to Joey Votto today, is his back leg, his left leg, which he's had surgically repaired a couple times, it's healthy, it's 100%, and that's why the power numbers are here for Joey Votto and the Reds.
For a while last year, the Cardinals had to make do without one of the most indispensable players in baseball. Yadier Molina was out with a hand injury for about 7-8 weeks. Last year, he's back. Like Votto, he's lost some weight heading into the season. He hasn't missed a single inning of baseball so far this year. And is he still the best catcher in baseball?
Well, for my money, absolutely. When you talk about indispensable players in sports, he might be one of the top 10 for a franchise to be successful. And when you start to think about the numbers, and I mean the innings, consecutive games, the amount of games, the amount of hitters this guy has called pitches for, you're talking in the hundreds of thousands. And he's never put a finger down without intent or reasoning behind it. And that, to me, separates him from everybody else. It's like having a pitching coach standing behind your pitcher on the mound during the game. And he knows every one of his pitcher's strengths, weaknesses, and the hitter's strength, weaknesses, knows the umpire, puts it all together, and calls every pitch and runs his staff.
Of course, he's not the only reason why the Cardinals are so good. Matt Carpenter's looking like the Matt Carpenter of 2 years ago. He's got 7 doubles in his last 5 games. And minutes ago, he visited with our Buster Olney.
Matt, off to a great start so far this year, hitting .391. You've changed your approach at the plate, taking fewer pitches. How come?
I got the little taste of it in the postseason last year, just being a little bit more aggressive, and it worked out for me. And it's something I'm going to try to take into this season, and just keep pitchers off balance, keep them guessing on whether or not you're taking or whether or not you're swinging, and just being more of a hitter.
Adam Wainwright pitching tonight. What's it like to play defense behind him?
It's awesome. The guy goes out and competes. He's on the mound, and he grabs the ball, and he's ready to go. It's fun to play defense behind him because he works quickly, he throws a ton of strikes, and he gives us a chance to win every time he's out there.
Matt, thanks. Dan, back to you.
Buster, thank you. He is the ace of the staff. A 20-game winner a year ago. Adam Wainwright getting ready to make his 4th start of the season. The Cardinals looking to sweep the Reds next on Sunday Night Baseball. Presented by Taco Bell. Defect to the next generation of breakfast. Wake up, live Mas. And in part by Ford Service. Go with confidence. Cardinals in their home whites take to the field behind Adam Wainwright as they look to complete a sweep on the Cincinnati Reds, a team they've absolutely dominated, especially in this ballpark in recent years. And Adam Wainwright has thrown a lot of innings in the last couple of years. What have you seen from him so far on this young season?
Well, one of the things I like to try and figure out is why the great ones are consistently great. And one of the reasons they are, especially in the National League, is because they do a lot of different things well. Tonight, watch his tempo. When he's working, no one on base, he works quick. He gets the ball. His defense, you heard his teammates talk about liking to play behind him. When he gets guys on base, he's quick to home, number one. But number two, he never gives you a consistent move. He's mixing his times up, holding the ball, and doing what I think is the hardest thing for a runner to beat, is holding the ball and keeping the runner still.
Wainwright will not have to deal with the guy who is arguably the fastest player in baseball. Billy Hamilton is not in the lineup for the Reds tonight. As we take a look at the Reds starting lineups presented by Taco Bell. Hamilton, a very slight groin problem from last night, and also 0 for 7 strikeouts against Wainwright. Todd Frazier was an all-star last year. Brandon Phillips hits cleanup. Jay Bruce had knee surgery last season, didn't have a typical Bruce year. They need a typical Bruce year this year.
Yeah, and off to a slow start is Jay Bruce, and you know this can't be a lot of fun with him having to face a guy like Adam Wainwright, but they need Jay Bruce to be the Jay Bruce of 2 years ago, and if he does, they've got a chance to compete.
It was raining hard this afternoon, and there is a threat of more weather later on tonight. But they have told us that right now we are in the proverbial window of good weather. So we'll see how long that lasts. Former Cardinals Skip Schumacher gets a start in left field tonight and leads off for the Reds. And takes outside, ball one. Jim Reynolds, the crew chief, is working the plate tonight. Paul Schreiber at first, Clint Fagan at second, and Manny Gonzalez at third. Look at the live K zone that you'll see throughout the game tonight as Schumacher fouls it off. 1-1. Marlon Byrd, generally the left fielder, newcomer to Cincinnati this year, but he too has some rough numbers against Wainwright. There's a pretty large group of people who have rough numbers against Wainwright.
There's a whole league.
Yeah,
supposed to.
Twice he has finished second in balloting for the Cy Young. Twice he has finished third. Twice he has won 20. And Tommy John 4 years back. And has been an ace and a horse for the Cardinals. Little soft liner to third, one down. Now Joey Votto, as Crucky was talking about, healthier this year. Only played about 60 games last year. Had a quad problem that cost him most of the season. You go back, of course, to the MVP year, huge on base percentage numbers. And right now they've got him hitting where they had him hitting before his season ended last year, which is in the 2 spot. As you can see, he's off to a great start, hitting for average, still drawing walks, but also pulling the ball more and hitting for more power than he has the last couple of years.
Well, what we showed in the open, Dan, was the fact that he can finally get that weight back on that back leg. His leg kicks a little higher, and that's where you generate your power from. And that. Last year, 1-0, he would probably have taken that pitch. Borderline pitch away. Now he's being more aggressive in the strike zone. Like Matt Carpenter said that he had to adjust. You know, the last thing you want to do nowadays is get to the bullpen, because most of the bullpen guys throw harder than the starter.
Swing and a miss at a curveball, 1-2.
The other thing I like, if you watch his eyes when he gets to the plate, he's looking at the defense. He's a guy that prepares and studies, and obviously their defense moves with the way Adam pitches.
Fastball in 2-2. Votto, an extremely analytical guy. And you look at his injury last year. Phillips was hurt for a while. Bruce was hurt for a while. And the Reds, they just had a terrible second half. As Votto lines one to right field, and that is down for a base hit.
Just like we talked about before the game in the opening, and now as this at bat progressed, you watch the legs, the leg kick, the stride now. Before he was spread out and he didn't get a big stride or a big leg kick because he couldn't support it with the back leg. Now he can support it, and that's a ball right there that if you're the Cincinnati Reds, you got to love his approach at the plate, but not only his approach, but just how still disciplined he is, but aggressively too. And take a look at these legs. This is not something he couldn't do the last couple of years because of the injury. The big leg kick, the drive off the back leg, and what you can do with the leg kick, you can't do it if you can't push off that back leg. And he's pushing off of it. And it's going to be a beautiful thing for the Cincinnati Reds this summer.
Well, that's the guy they gave the contract. That's the MVP guy.
Todd Frazier is the batter. And Wainwright falls behind 2-0. Hole on the right side with Votto being held on by Adams. Frazier had a good year last year. 29 homers, 80 RBIs. Went to the All-Star game. All-Star game, by the way, this year is in Cincinnati. Reaching for one. He pops it up. Shallow left center. Jay coming in, 2 down.
I think the pitch before that, the one that kind of got Frazier to move off the plate, is how Adam Wainwright got that out there on Todd Frazier.
And if you notice that enormous hole on the right side, Yachty wasn't worried about him hitting that ball. And that's why, because he came with that ball in, gives him a slider. That ball right there is not meant to be a strike. That ball is meant to set this pitch up, and he knows he's going to try to pull the ball as a pitcher, and Yachty gets, or Adam gets the pitch. Beautiful pitch. Every pitch he throws has a purpose, whether it be that at bat or an at bat later in the game.
Here's Brandon Phillips. Phillips hitting .286 in the early going. 3-time All-Star, 4 Gold Gloves. Not the most popular Red amongst Cardinal fans. This has been a rivalry, at times a feud between these two teams going back over the last number of years. Although the Cardinals have quite firmly held the upper hand in the rivalry, winning game after game, series after series from the Reds. Of the last 23 series in this ballpark, Cincinnati's won one of them out of 23. And there you can see the Cardinals have won 14 consecutive 3-game series here, and that includes this one. They won on Friday night. They won again yesterday.
That pitch right there is a good example of veteran. That pitch was meant to be hit. That pitch was meant to be a strike, as opposed to now he can also set up something away with that pitch as well.
Looking out at Matt Carpenter, he just moved over a step and a half from where he was playing on the previous pitch. So you look for that cutter away or a breaking ball away and see if he can get over top of it and roll it over.
So he moved towards the line?
Moved towards the line, yeah.
And a lot of times what veteran catchers will do right here, when you throw the pickoff throw, a lot of hitters will look down to see where the catcher was set up for the pitch. They'll set up opposite of where they're actually going to set up for the pitch.
And a breaking ball fouled back.
Exactly what we thought. He throws him the pitch in, he pulls it foul, and that sets up something off speed, which was a breaking ball by Wainwright, and that's why Matt Carpenter moved over a little bit.
And probably the most important lesson there for young pitchers, 0-2 is not a waste count. For good pitchers, 0-2, you put the hitter away. And that involves getting a hitter to chase a pitch that you want him to chase.
Foul tip held by Molina. Phillips strikes out, and the inning is over. A base hit, but nothing more off Wainwright. We'll go to the bottom of the first here at Busch Stadium. The Cardinals are coming up against Mike Leake and the Reds. to take a look at the St. Louis Cardinals starting lineup tonight, presented by Taco Bell. And the Cardinals off to a 7-3 start, averaging just over 4 runs per game. 2 of their hot hitters so far. Matt Carpenter, as we mentioned, 7 doubles in his last 5 games. And Matt Holliday driving in a lot of runs. He's 5 for 7 with runners in scoring position this year.
Yeah, and yet to hit a home run, which is surprising. But you know, when you talk to people around the Cardinals, he's not a home run hitter, is Matt Holliday. He's a line drive hitter that just so happens every once in a while those line drives carry over the fence. But the batting average, hitting with runners in scoring position, that's far more important to the St. Louis Cardinals offense than the home run ball. Mike Leake is on the mound for the Reds tonight as Carpenter steps in. Shill, what can you tell us? What do we need to know about Mike Leake?
Seeker slider contact guy. Throws a real heavy, what they call a real heavy ball. Needs to, like most guys, needs to work at the bottom half of the zone. High 80s, low 90s. Good changeup, slider. His slider's tight, and his curveball's tight as well. He's got some big hands.
Former first-round pick back in 2009, and an athlete, right? I mean, an all-round athlete.
Oh, yeah, he's a pitcher. Of course he's an athlete.
Well, let's not go there, but he's one of the few.
Could be more.
There's Carpenter driving a ball to center field and deep. It is carrying, and it is gone. Home run by Matt Carpenter. They don't have an answer for him right now. The second of the season and an early 1-0 lead for the Cardinals.
Just when you mentioned how they lack power in their lineup, just made a liar out of us, didn't he?
Jason Hayward with the ground ball down to first. Votto unassisted, 1 down.
One of the things about pitching in the big leagues you have to understand as a young pitcher is that good pitches sometimes get hit. Now, he missed his spot, and there's a reason they were trying to go down and away, and that's it right there, because he clearly is comfortable keeping his hands inside or pulling them inside and driving the ball. That's a bomb. But that's a bad miss, and we talked about good misses, bad misses. You can't miss on the other side of the plate when you're trying to make pitches in and out.
9th extra base hit in 11 games for Matt Carpenter. Here's Matt Holliday. A strike right at the bottom end of the zone. Holliday hitting .364 in the early going. Was taken out of yesterday's game. Very slight tightness in his back. More of a precautionary move. Back in there tonight as he sends one down the right field line, but this will be foul. And Holliday has some very good numbers against Mike Leake. 14 for 36. That's a .389 career average.
He's not taken. The thing about a guy like Matt Holliday is you have to be able to get him to swing at balls out of the strike zone and have power stuff to make him respect that pitch.
And an 0-2 pitch right over the heart of the plate. Banged into right field for a base hit.
Well, let's go back to the at-bat by Matt Carpenter. And like Kurt said, this pitch was intended to be away. It drifts back over the center of the plate. And look at Matt Carpenter right there. Watch his hands, how still his hands are. This is why you have to think that he's going to hit for as long as his career lasts, because of those quiet hands, not a lot of movement in the swing. I mean, we've seen guys like John Jay have to make adjustments, and others who had a lot of movement in their hands and their upper body. This is about as good as you can get as far as being quiet in the hitting zone.
And if you watch, one of the things I always watch when I'm watching a game on TV, if you see the catcher's tricep on his glove hand, it's a bad miss.
Because he's reaching.
He's reaching.
Yeah.
Yep.
Here's Matt Adams, cleanup hitter. And another pitch right over the heart of the plate, hit hard, but out to center, where Brennan Bosch makes the catch. 2 down. So there have been some hard hit balls off Leake here in the first inning.
How long does it take? I know you weren't a sinker baller, but sinker baller, you know, he looks like he's missing and elevating. I mean, he has to be perfect for them not to hit it hard.
The challenge, Crookie, excuse me, is when we talked a couple weeks ago about Tanaka, he needs to work both half of the zone, up and down, as well as in and out. You got to have the sinker right from pitch one, but you don't get good hitters out in the strike zone in the big leagues. You got to make them move to the edges and swing to the edges. And you can't throw pitches that are really non-competitive. You've got to make them think. Every pitch that Adam Wainwright threw in the top of the first, there was a purpose and a reason behind it. You're learning nothing right now as a catcher or a pitcher because you're throwing balls down the middle and they're driving it.
A run in, a man on, 2 outs, and the batter is Cardinals shortstop Johnny Peralta. Second year with St. Louis. He takes inside ball 2. And a very productive year a year ago for Peralta. 21 home runs, 38 doubles, drove in 75 runs.
The other thing, Crucky, is when I was facing a one like a Wainwright, the leadoff hitter could be the winning run. So you had to have it from pitch one. You didn't get time to find your way in the first inning.
And another hard hit ball, but it finds Cozart's glove to end the inning. Cardinals having some good rips at Mike Leake, including Matt Carpenter, who drove one right over the center field fence. 1-0 St. Louis. Reds, the pitching coach for a number of seasons before that. Reds went 76-86 last year. It was 25-42 after the All-Star break. We mentioned all the injuries. 5-6 so far this season. They won their first 4. They've lost 6 of 7 since. As Jay Bruce leads off the second against Adam Wainwright. Made a couple of off-season moves. Traded away 2 of their starting pitchers, Matt Alatos, Alfredo Simon. Acquired Marlon Byrd for the outfield, as we mentioned in the first inning. Bruce with a fly ball down the left field line. Holiday giving chase. It's a foul ball. And right now, in a division where the Cardinals reside, and they've been so good for so many years, the Pirates have been a playoff team each of the last 2 years. The Cubs have improved. Milwaukee's really scuffling right now, just 2-10. Where do you guys see the Reds fitting into this division?
If they don't figure out their bullpen, especially the 8th inning, you know, we know about the dominant closer. Johnny Cueto's a #1 if there ever is one. You know, to me, they have to outscore people once you get past Cueto, I think they have to score runs.
I think a lot of things do have to go right with them. I know pitching at the back end of a staff, losing games late is one of the hardest things you can do to a club. Jay, the big thing for me is that Votto's back. He looks like the guy that they signed that contract to, and that could be a season changer if they stay healthy.
Just inside. Molina liked the location. Wainwright didn't get the call, and it's a full count now on Bruce, coming off an injury-plagued year, knee surgery. In hindsight, he and the Reds feel maybe he came back a little bit too quickly, wasn't healthy yet. Line to first, and a leaping Matt Adams will make the catch for out number 1.
Well, I like that. You see that setup. You throw the fastball in that cuts at him, then he throws a comebacker that goes the other way. Jay Brew, that's impressive. That's an impressive piece of hitting, because I'm assuming he's looking outer half, and he comes back to Maddox there. He throws a ball in that cuts in, then throws a ball in that cuts back.
There's Zach Cozart. I think we're completely underselling the vertical leap here by Matt Adams, Crucky. I mean, take us down to first base. That's a big man down there.
That ball might have been fouled. Matt Adams didn't touch it. I mean, that's how much it was hooking. But you got to look where he's playing. I mean, this is like no doubles defense in the 8th and 9th inning. Look where he's playing. But he can play there because of his pitcher. He knows his pitcher's going to pitch to where they're playing, and that's how he makes that play.
And that's the hard part to explain, is how much goes behind something like that. The amount of at-bats and hours of preparation.
He's going to have another play here on a pop-up. Cozart retired, 2 down.
He looks like he's feeling from pitch 1 tonight. In that first inning, there were some things that he did that were a lot of fun. Now, you watch this first at bat here, and you watch this pitch in. It's not about just throwing strikes. It's about having command. That was meant not to be a strike. It was meant to set that pitch up. Now, you watch this at bat. That ball is meant to be pulled foul to keep him looking, gets him ahead of the breaking ball, and then makes him swing. He's thinking about that ball in. That's why he swings and misses at that sinker down, in addition to it having good action. It's not about throwing strikes all the time. It's about throwing strategically thought and located balls.
And he's been great against the Reds. Faced him twice last year. Did not give up a run. As Bosch lines one into right center field and all the way to the fence. And the Cincinnati center fielder tonight, getting a start in Billy Hamilton's spot, has himself a 2-out double.
I think that's the best approach you can have to Adam Wainwright. Swing early. If he throws 80 pitches for a complete game, so be it. But you see what he does when he can get ahead of hitters. And Brendan Bosch just said, you know what, I'm not waiting. I'm not waiting to get struck out. And the pitch was pretty much center cut, maybe a little bit away. Like Wainwright tried to two-seam it, tried to get it to run away from him. You see Yadier Molina have to reach over the center of the plate. One of the few mistakes he's made early in this game, and Brendan Bosch took advantage of it.
So with 2 outs, here's the catcher, Tucker Barnhart, seeing his first action of the season for Cincinnati. The Reds are carrying 3 catchers right now. Devin Mesoraco, who's their number 1 guy, has a hip injury. It's being called inflammation. It's been called an impingement. But it seems to be of some concern to the Reds that this may be, they don't know yet how serious it is. They haven't put him on the DL yet, but at some point in the next few days, they're going to have to make a decision. Fly ball lifted into left field. Holiday there. And the inning is over. To the bottom of the second, the Cardinals are up 1-0. Yadier Molina due to hit second when we come back. Welcome back to Busch Stadium. 1-0. The Cardinals lead the Reds as we go to the bottom of the second inning here on Sunday Night Baseball. John Jay will lead it off and take a strike over the outside edge. 0-1 on the Cardinals center fielder. Had a very good year last year for St. Louis. As he hits one hard. Boy, there have been some hard hit balls. Fortunately for Leake, most of them have found gloves. One down. And that'll bring up Yadier Molina. As always, a big fan favorite here in St. Louis. 7 gold gloves will do that for you.
And a platinum.
And a platinum. As the league's overall best defender, an award that baseball created a few years ago. A 3-time platinum glove award winner, 7-time gold glove award winner. And off to a good start with the bat this year. Shows bunt, takes a strike.
Such a big out in National League games right here. This situation, 7-hitter up, 1 out. Because I'm going into this inning thinking my next inning I can have the pitcher leading off and almost have a gimme inning if I can make this happen.
Outside, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Inside the Cardinal clubhouse in Molina's locker. There they are right there. There's a gold glove and there's a platinum glove right behind it.
Oof. You probably don't have nowhere at home to put them.
Ground ball bounced to third. Frazier in on the edge of the grass. Easy play, 2 down.
Well, let's take a look at Mike Leake's first inning here, and we talked about all the hard hit balls. And here's the reason why. Center of the plate is where he can't be. Center of the plate up. Center of the plate up to Matt Holliday. Center of the plate up to Matt Adams. And center, little in, but more center to Johnny Peralta. And a lot of hard hit balls, but give him credit. At least they're hitting him at someone. He can't live that way.
No, he can't.
For another 3-4 innings.
But I thought this inning warming up, he looked like he kind of got to the bottom of the strike zone. The first pitch of the inning was a good pitch. That to Yachty wasn't a bad pitch either, and there's another good sinker.
Nice play by Phillips to retire his counterpart Colton Wong, and the inning is over. 2 completes here in St. Louis, and a 1-0 lead for the Cardinals over the Reds here at Busch Stadium. Hashtag #RepMyTeam with a picture of how you're supporting your team, and your tweets could show up here on television later on tonight here on the Sunday night telecast. With John Kruk, Kurt Schilling, Buster Olney, and our Sunday night crew, I'm Dan Schulman with you here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, where the weather has cleared. After some heavy rain this afternoon, the Cardinals lead 1-0 as we go to the top of the 3rd inning. After a couple of wins already in this series for St. Louis, Cardinals in the National League Championship Series 4 years in a row, and off to a good start this year with a record of 7-3. And one of the biggest reasons why, Schill, their starting pitching, well, their pitching has been great, but their starting pitching has been the best in baseball. Collectively, the rotation's ERA is just over 2, 10 games into the season.
And when you look at the Cardinals starting pitching over the last 4 years, the one constant to me, Yadier Molina, and his ability to work with a pitching staff regardless of who's on it.
We have not one but 2 pitchers who can swing the bat in this game. Mike Leake leads it off for the Reds. In his career, he's a .231 hitter, 4 home runs. Wainwright's got some impressive numbers as well. You'll see those when he comes up. Good take, and it's a ball and a strike. After Leake, back to the top of the order for Schumacher and Votto. Swing and a miss at a curve, 1-2.
Normally you would say that's not fair, but to a guy who can hit like Mike Leake, that's really fair.
My goodness, Yachty is so good at that.
But you love this at bat because he's making Wainwright throw pitches. He's not chasing. A lot of pitchers go up there and after 2 strikes they just swing at anything. This guy's actually dialed into this at bat, which I love.
Breaking ball up, and Leake pops it up at a shallow center. Another play for Jay. The Yankees travel to Detroit tomorrow night to take on Miguel Cabrera and the Detroit Tigers. Baseball rules on ESPN tomorrow at 7 Eastern on ESPN and watch ESPN. The Tigers won again today. They beat the White Sox 9-1. Yoenis Cespedes hit 2 home runs and drove in 6. Shane Green, former Yankee, pitched brilliantly again. 7 innings, 1 run. He is now 3-0 on the season. And the Tigers have a major league best record of 10-2.
How about the bullpen problems? Yeah, right. Miggy and Victor and J.D. Martinez and Cespedes, they'll take care of that.
Pitch in for a strike, 1-1 on Schumacher.
Forgot Kinsler. Let's not forget him. He'll just hit 25 homers this year.
And how about Iglesias at short? He's hitting over 400 right now and making plays like crazy out there defensively.
Hit 9th.
To his left, Peralta. 2 down.
Well, this is what makes Adam Wainwright special, and this is one of the things again comparing to Greg Maddux used to be able to make the ball move both directions on both sides of the plate. When you watch the first pitch to a left-hander, one of the things a right-hander needs to do is to be able to get into a left-hander's kitchen. There's a ball cutting at him at 87. Second pitch moving away from him at 91. Now he's got to worry about he left it up a little bit, but those first 2 pitches were so good that third one he had no chance to be aggressive and barrel.
So 2 down, nobody on. Here's Joey Votto, who had a base hit into right field his first time up. One of 2 hits thus far off Wainwright. Starts him with a curveball outside for ball 1.
You can just see great hitters have different take than the other guys. He was never going to swing at that pitch.
Line down the left field line. That's a fair ball. Holiday cuts it off, and it's the second base hit of the night for Joey Votto.
This is why Joey Votto is seemingly back on his MVP statistically, and you know, you watch the pitch by Adam Wainwright. It's a 2-seamer down and away, elevated a little bit, but look at Joey Votto, the big leg kick, the weight on the back leg, stays behind the ball, and look at the head though. The head just stays right on it and follows it to where the ball is going. Look at the head. That's beautiful.
National League MVP 2010. When he hit .324, 37 homers, 113 RBIs. Over the last couple of years, few years I guess I should say, the power came down a little bit. The walks, as high as they were, increased even more. And he talks about how last year, because he didn't have the strength underneath him with his leg, he knew he couldn't drive the ball for power, so he put all of his focus on base percentage, just try to get on as much as he could. And he's never going to go far away from on base percentage. As we mentioned, a very analytical guy and values getting on base. He'll take the walk with a runner at third over the sac fly, which is a discussion we had last year. But boy, it looks like the power stroke, the ability to drive the ball, Crucky, is back.
Yeah, and when I was talking to Marlon Bird today, he mentioned that you know, when he talked to Joey Votto, he said, you know, I'm going to put up MVP numbers like I did in 2010. because I'm healthy. And you know, Marlon Byrd looked at him and he said, wait, he looked at me and he said, wait, you think it's that easy? And I said, apparently to him it is, because he's doing it. But he said he just seems like he was a different person this spring. He knew he was healthy. He was happy that he was healthy, and he knew confidence-wise that, yes, he would be able to drive the ball now.
3-0 to Frazier. And taken low for ball 4. So the Reds have 2 men on with 2 outs for Brandon Phillips.
You're looking at 300 average, 400 on base, and 500 slugging. It doesn't happen too often.
Another great gift from Canada. Well, I shouldn't say another.
Oh, Shill. If people only knew. If people only knew. And Rush. There you go. Here's Brandon Phillips. Struck out his first time up. Reds down 1-0, but threatening here with 2 down and their cleanup hitter at the plate. First pitch swinging, fly ball, little pop up really, shallow center's going to drop. It drops between Wong and Jay. Votto will score. Frazier around to third, and a bloop RBI single for Phillips has tied the game.
We talked about all the great pitches that Adam Wainwright made to Brandon Phillips in his first at bat, and that was another good pitch. But it is a way. He got him out in his first at bat, and then he tries to get elevated right there with the pitch. But you look at it, you know, if you're looking in, where do you hit it? Look at his hips fly open, but you hit it off the end of the bat. He didn't hit it hard enough for anyone to catch.
No, that was the pitch he made, and he got the result he wanted. He just came in the wrong spot. That run scored because of the walk, though. The walk is what set that up, and he knows that.
Now Jay Bruce.
But it was a kind of a domino thing. I thought he had Votto where he wanted him with his 2 outs and nobody on. You can do whatever you need to do. Single doesn't hurt you because he has confidence going against Frazier. Then he walks him, and then he set that up. So he's mad. I guarantee he's mad at himself.
Gets a call on the outside corner, 1-1. Bruce lining out to first his first time up. Fastball runs away, ball 2. It's already the second series between these division rivals. The Cardinals taking 2 out of 3 in Cincinnati last weekend and trying to sweep this series here. A lot of games within your own division at the start of the year. Cincinnati's headed to Milwaukee for 4 after tonight. St. Louis will go outside the division and take on the Nationals. Pulled foul, 2-2.
That's the same cutter he threw him first at bat and got him to do the same thing.
And here's where you're Jay Bruce. You have to look away and protect in, and by protect in I mean just try to fight it off.
Ground ball to short. And they will force Phillips at second to end the inning. A run in, though, on the RBI single by Phillips to tie the game. 1-1. Matt Carpenter, who's homer tonight, due up second for the Cards. 1-1 tie, bottom third. Adam Wainwright leads it off, and a swing and a miss at the first pitch from Mike Leake. We mentioned Leake is a very good hitter. So is Wainwright. He's got 6 major league home runs and a 200 lifetime average in the big leagues. So he gets not just you're a regular pitcher, here's some fastballs. Leake's mixing pitches to Wainwright just like Wainwright did to Leake.
You know what really bothers me is I think I had more bats than them combined without a home run. They had 10.
I wonder what he's hitting against a breaking ball, because the first couple swings haven't been real good.
Whoops. Wainwright strikes out.
That was Schilling-esque right there. But that's what happens when you start to swing the bat in the National League. You see enough of, you have a lot of opportunities to help yourself. You start getting pitched to.
I don't know if that's a record, but it's close.
Yeah.
Sure, there's an Olympic event right there.
Well, that's the hammer throw, right?
Yeah.
Here's Carpenter. Homer to center field in his at-bat back in the first inning.
Just watch his hands. Watch how quiet his hands are.
Meaning what?
They just don't move. Like a lot of guys have a lot of wiggle, a lot of motion. I did that as a hitter. I had a lot of movement with my hands. I could never do this. I tried in spring training one year, and it was an utter disaster.
Votto feeds Leake, 2 down.
Yeah, but just so quiet, and that's, you know, that's why he can hit lefties as well as he does. That's why he can hit righties. Of course, he hits for high average. But look at his hands. He just rests them on his shoulder. They basically just move back, what, 4 inches, 2 to 3, 4 inches, and that's it. You know, a lot of guys have a lot more movement than that. Look how quiet, though. Look how he stays on the ball, even though that's a rollover grounder to second base. It's still, you know, that approach that he has is going to be tough to pitch to, but it's going to be successful for a long time.
And the one thing I always heard Manny talk about was having a quiet head. And if you watch his swing, you watch any good hitter swing, their head's in the same place when they start and when they finish, even though they stride.
Nice pitch, 0-2 to Jason Hayward.
When we talked about Jason Hayward opening week against the Cubs, how the drastic changes he made in his approach at home plate, but he still has a lot of movement going. I mean, you look at, you know, you put him and Matt Carpenter side by side, and it's like the difference between the two is so evident.
Hit his first home run as a Cardinal yesterday. Lines it foul, third base side. Hayward right now hitting in the 2 spot. Are the Cardinals unsure? Will they get the 25 home run a season, Jason Hayward, or the 10 to 12 home run a season, Jason Hayward? He's such a big, strong guy. Every time you see him hit one out, you think there's a lot of power there. Strikes out here against Leake. Cardinals, though, thrilled with the defense they've gotten from Hayward already this year. End of 3. Tied at 1. To the fourth in St. Louis, tied at 1 here on Sunday Night Baseball. The Reds and the Cardinals, with the Cardinals winning the first 2 games of the series. Zach Cozart leads it off against Adam Wainwright. Going to get into an issue this half inning. Want the opinion of both of you guys. There have been some brushbacks, some hit batters, some hard slides, some ejections. It's been a kind of a busy couple of days. 3 separate incidents, one involving these 2 teams, which actually never got any further than just the original slide. Jason Hayward last week sliding a little hard and a little late into Todd Frazier at third. Nobody was injured on the play. Brian Price didn't like it at all. Thought the cleat was up. Realizes it wasn't intentional, but didn't like the slide. The most serious one happened over the last couple of days between the A's and the Royals, and it started with a Brett Lawrie slide into second base, which injured Royals shortstop Alcides Escobar. And there was retribution, and then there was payback for the retribution, and on it went. It got really nasty between the 2 teams over the weekend. There's Bosch. Bosch with a double to right center his first time up. Also had the Orioles and the Red Sox who didn't like each other as Pablo Sandoval slid hard into second, and then Ubaldo Jimenez hit him in the right shoulder, and Jimenez was tossed out of the game.
The only frustrating thing on that one for me was the Orioles continuing to deny that it was intentional.
Two down. Let's take a look at the Oakland Kansas City situation. And again, this begins on Friday. And here's Brett Lawrie. Ground ball off the foot of the pitcher. Lawrie goes in hard and way over the bag, as you can see. Escobar leaves with an injured left knee. No payback Friday. Saturday, Lawrie gets hit, and Yordano Ventura immediately is tossed. Today, Lorenzo Cain gets hit by Scott Kazmir. And then Kelvin Herrera throws one behind Lawrie later in the game. And Herrera is tossed. Laurie's a very, very emotional player. And a number of layers on this in a couple of these situations. We haven't seen, usually it's you do something to my guy, I do something to your guy, then we'll issue warnings because it's even. But twice we just saw ejections, no warning, straight to the ejection. What do you think?
Well, the first thing for me is Major League Baseball needs to have an umpire other than Greg Gibson. He's a very emotional guy who interjects himself. That's going to be a volatile game. Everybody knows that you need to put a veteran back behind the plate, because what you're asking the umpires to do is to umpire intent, and they can't do that. Number one. Number two, it doesn't really matter what we think or how we feel. It's all about what they feel as players and what they think about their teammates. Mm-hmm. And if you're doing what you need, because the only thing you care about are the 24 guys you suit up with. What do they think? Do they know I have their back when I have the ball on the mound? Because that's all you care about as a pitcher.
Let's start, Crucky, with the slide. What did you think of the slide on Friday?
It was late. I mean, look, if Brett Lawrie slides to the base, he probably beats the play because it hit the pitcher, deflects to Moustakas. He probably beats the play. I think Brett had in his intention, I'm going to go get the second baseman, go get the middle infielder and try to break up a double play.
This series is over, but the A's and Royals meet again in June. Wouldn't surprise anybody if there was some carryover. Jerseyville, Illinois Little League team stop by our Baseball Tonight set. The kids are guests of the Cardinals tonight. Every Sunday on Baseball Tonight, ESPN and Major League Baseball partnering together to feature a local Little League program as part of our Sunday night coverage. Kids had a great time. As you may have seen during Baseball Tonight, in the hour preceding the show, they did an interview with our Nicole Briscoe and also Lance Lynn of the Cardinals. They were interviewing Lynn. He was giving them some baseball tips. Here's Matt Holliday. Had a base hit his first time up.
Lance Lynn. All he does is win.
Might see a few fastballs.
It's amazing how he just. You talk about a guy who flies under the radar.
There's a pitch taken for a strike. Holliday didn't like it, 2-1. Here's how you know Holliday's a strong guy and a right-handed batter who's a strong guy. Take a look where Jose Oquendo is. I mean, he's as far down the line. The coaching box is apparently not a rule. It's more of a guideline. But when a guy like Holliday's out there, you get down the line, right?
You know, they came up with that rule a few years ago for the coaches to wear helmets. Completely understand. They should eliminate the coaches box. Now, if he comes down closer to home plate and is trying to steal signs, but Jose Oquendo, you know, he's my age, so I know he can't see what signs catchers give him.
I actually think the coach's box is left for base running. If you make contact with a runner inside the coach's box, you're all right. But I've never seen a coach actually stand in it.
Oh, look at the grass. None of it's wore out.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if Jose can see home plate.
Holliday's a guy, when people talk about his home runs, some home run hitters hit, you know, high, majestic fly balls. His are like low line drives that just keep on going.
And
right?
they hurt people, too.
Yeah, they're not fun souvenirs to get.
When you hit one to left center and people are trying to dodge it instead of catch it.
Tomorrow night, Monday Night Baseball presented by USAA. It'll be the Yankees and the Tigers. CC Sabathia, Alfredo signing the expected pitching matchup. The Cardinals in Washington Wednesday. And a week from tonight, we will have the Battle of New York, the Mets and the Yankees. 3-2 the count on Holliday. How about the New York Mets, who won again today? Matt Harvey got the win. 6 innings, 4 runs, no walks, 7 strikeouts. He's 3-0. The Mets have won 8 in a row. They are 10-3. And only the Tigers have a better record in all of baseball right now than the New York Mets.
I love it, too. Terry Collins, seemingly every year he's been in New York, he's been on the hot seat. But I love the fact that they're off to a good start. They got some great starting pitching, timely hitting, and I think, you know, a guy like David Wright's been out on the DL. But, you know, a guy like Michael Kadire just add some veteran leadership to that clubhouse. On the 10th pitch of the at-bat, Holliday grounds out to short.
Today was a rough day for him, but to me, the NL East is the one division to look at, and you go, wait a minute, what? You got the Mets and the Braves, who everybody was kind of saying the Braves were going to have not a good year. Miami has not played well at all.
They're 3-10.
Yeah, not played well at all. But the Mets today was a tough day for them with d'Arnaud and Blevin.
Yeah, Travis d'Arnaud hit by a pitch and a broken bone in his hand, I believe. Jerry Blevin's left-handed reliever hit by a comeback or a broken bone in his forearm. So 2 losses for the Mets today in terms of injuries. Adams grounds out. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell is brought to you by John Deere. Nothing runs like a deer. The Mets will start a series this week with Atlanta, so 2 good teams in the National League East. The Mets 10-3, the Braves 8-4. Atlanta just took 2 out of 3 up in Toronto. Here's Johnny Peralta with 2 outs, nobody on. Johnny Gomes had big hits today and yesterday for Atlanta.
You think Freddie Gonzalez is happy? He's finally got a lineup now that, you know, with Eric Young Jr. you can run, you can put guys in motion, you can, you know, before last year was, you know, just stand up there and, you know, get on your back leg and see how far we can hit it. And if we hit it, great. If we don't, we'll strike out. They're a more exciting team, that's for sure. And
you know, they may have traded Kimbrel, but Jim Johnson and Jason Grilly are doing a job. There's a fly ball to right center, shallow, and Bruce over to make the catch. As the side is retired in order, 11 in a row set down by Leake. Jerseyville, though, probably rooting for the Cardinals here at Busch. ESPN presented by Taco Bell. The Reds and the Cardinals tied at 1 as we go to the top of the 5th. Between innings, Buster Olney with Cardinals manager Mike Matheny.
Mike, Matt Carpenter with a home run. What have the changes in your eyes affected him? How have they affected him as a hitter?
I think he just has taken the challenge that he's not just going to be a guy who goes up there and takes a lot of pitches, works into deep counts all the time. There's going to be times when he can let it go. He's got the kind of power. Obviously, he showed that here today, that he can let it go early in the count, and he gets a good pitch to drive. He shouldn't be letting it go in the advantage counts.
What have you seen in Adam Wainwright so far tonight?
Looks like he's got about his best curveball he's had so far this season. Right from the beginning, he had a good feel for it, and he's mixing up speeds with it. It's just about controlling counts right now for him with his fastball and his cutter. But everything looks good. Just got to keep him going.
Mike, thanks.
Well, for Adam Wainwright, too, a little bit of extra rest before this start. 1 day extra rest before this one. 2 days of extra rest before the last one because of some off days early on in the season. And Show, when we were talking to Mike Matheny about it before the game, about his between start routine, his spring routine. Again, Wainwright's been around a long time. He knows what he has to do to get ready, but it sounds like it's, I don't know if a reduced routine is the right way to put it, but he's saving some bullets, right?
Well, it goes back to there's no one way to do everything. He's had enough time in his career, enough innings, enough experience to know what he needs to be ready to pitch. And I think from I don't know, but I'm assuming from a manager's perspective, the fewer guys you actually have to manage on your roster, the better it is and the easier it is to manage. And you got a tone set.
And he just gets a strikeout, 2 down. That'll bring up Joey Votto.
Oh, we keep talking about Joey Votto and the fact that his left leg is finally healthy. Let's take a look right here. I mean, you look at the stride, but how he gets to that stride by getting the weight on the back leg with the leg kick. Look at the leg kick. The weight is all on the back leg, and that's where your power comes from. And you see how when his foot lands, he can push off of that back foot and actually drive the ball now.
What a quick inning. Ground ball, strikeout, fly ball, 6 pitches, 3 up, 3 down. Going bottom 5, tied at 1. Welcome back to St. Louis with Curt Schilling, John Kruk, Buster Olney. I'm Dan Shulman. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. Bottom 5, Reds and Cardinals tied at 1. Matt Carpenter homering in the first for St. Louis. Brandon Phillips driving in a run with a base hit in the third to tie it. This is John Jay pulling a ground ball down to first. Votto will take it himself. Well, Mike Leake's on the mound tonight for the Reds, but the undisputed ace of the Cincinnati staff is Johnny Cueto. What a great year he had last year. 20-9 with a 2.25 ERA, 242 strikeouts, and keep in mind making half of his starts in a great hitter's park. Now the Reds traded away Latos and Simon in the offseason. Cueto is a free agent at the end of the year. And a lot of talk around Cincinnati. Is Johnny Cueto going to be a Red long term? There's Molina with a fly ball to left. 2 down. August 1st. Is Johnny Cueto a Cincinnati Red?
That depends on the other 24 guys on his team. If they're playing good and they're winning, yes.
Well, August 1st, the ownership tells the fans where they're headed, because if he's not here, then you're rebuilding. And you're rebuilding with a $200 million guy at first base.
Right.
If he is here, which he should be, you know, this is kind of a modern day Louis Tiant. Does nothing but go out and throw quality, solid games and win.
A quick 2 outs for Leake. Here's Colton Wong to take a strike.
I thought they traded those guys to be able to afford to sign him.
But he's at the level. John Lester got 6 years, $155 million.
Yep.
Well, Cueto's at that level, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Can Cincinnati, which has a payroll of about $110 million, Votto's making a ton of money, Homer Bailey signed a 6-year, $105 million deal.
That's their.
Can they afford to pay Cueto $25 million a year for the next 6 years?
Can they afford it? I would assume they could. I would assume we're always playing these games. We spend other people's money very easily. I would assume they could afford it. Do they want to do that? Is the bigger thing, because a lot of times it's not whether they can or they can. It's whether they want to or not.
Popped up. Leake wants it, called off by Frazier, and Mike Leake is mowing him down. He has retired 14 in a row. And we're at the end of 5 in St. Louis, tied at 1. The Cardinals and the Reds, as we mentioned, it's been a one-sided affair over the last several years, especially here in St. Louis, with the Cardinals winning 21 of the last 23 series here, 14 of the last 16 overall. So yeah, it's a rivalry, but it's a rivalry that's been dominated by one team. That was our high-strength performance, brought to you by Chevy Silverado. And even Brian Price, the manager of the Reds, said, I think after the Friday night game, he's not convinced, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but he's not convinced his guys come in here anticipating a win, believing that they're going to win because of everything. Remember, he was the pitching coach for a number of years, so he's been through this for a while. I mean, it's got to wear on you when you keep going to one town and you keep losing time and time again. Frazier with a ground ball to short. One down.
Well, the challenge is I think for me, 23 series, that's a couple years. So you're not talking about the same personnel. So I never thought, I remember correctly, I don't know if you saw this, but in the years I played, there were places, Baltimore one year in Boston, we couldn't win in Baltimore. They beat us. They weren't that good. And those things kind of had their, they're cyclical, but year after year after year, you got to look at some of whatever the constant is between those years.
It's a long cycle.
Yeah.
I mean, they've 23 series here. You're talking about 8 years, basically, right? They play 3 series a season here as division rivals. Here's Phillips, a strikeout and an RBI single.
I think that was like Red Sox fans trying to call the rivalry with the Yankees in the 80s and 90s. Both teams have to win.
Well, if you're trying to make the playoffs or win your division, you keep going 6-12 against, or 6-13, whatever, against a team in your division. That's an uphill climb then to win your division.
Well, especially when it's a team ahead of you, right? I mean, those are full games. You can't get those back.
Quickly 0-2 on Phillips.
8 years of bad matchups for the Reds, I guess.
Over 200 innings of just
bad matchups.
It's not like the Reds have been a tail end team for all those 8 years. They've been a good team for several of them.
We couldn't win in San Francisco.
No.
And
I don't know that it had to do with the Giants.
Well, I know.
Which we? Phillies we or Padres we?
Phillies we. And that was a good thing because they weren't in our division. But, in '93 when we finally got to the postseason, we were hoping the Braves won.
Right.
Because we knew if we played the Giants, it was going to be not very good outcome on our end.
Strike 3 called. Phillips thought it was outside. 2 down.
Well, when you get hitters out consistently in the big leagues and you're good, you do it out of the strike zone or on the corners. Now, you don't go into a game planning on balls being called strikes, but you're certainly not upset when they are. Working the corners. Every pitch that comes out of his hand is potentially something the hitter has to defend. That's what separates him from a lot of other guys.
Brandon Phillips ain't happy with it.
Nope.
9 in a row set down by Wainwright. We mentioned on the other side, Leake hasn't allowed a base runner since the first inning. He's set down 14 in a row. And we are tied at 1 here in the top of the 6th. Curveball and a bouncer down to first. Fair ball. And another 3-up, 3-down inning. And another quick one for Adam Wainwright. He needs only 8 pitches to take care of the Reds in order. Bottom 6. Reds 1, Cardinals 1. Adam Wainwright takes a strike from Mike Leake. Wainwright struck out his first time up. And the ground ball down to third. 15 in a row now set down by Leake.
Well, I thought first inning he was up. It was obvious he was up, and he was up center. If you look at these pitches, every ball they hit, they squared up and they barreled, and that's the reason why he was middle up. I watched him warm up in the second inning, and he looked like he found the bottom of the strike zone in his warm-ups, and ever since then, he has been down there. When he's gone up, it's almost been intentional, but he stayed around the corners of the strike zone and sinker at the bottom half, and that's the reason we're in the bottom of the 6th, and he has 58 pitches.
Kurt, you talked about, we've been talking about during commercial breaks, the pace of this game. But, Adam Wainwright has had to lead off 2 innings. Mike Leake's had to lead off 2 innings. And you said it, you get the pitchers out, it could be a quick inning.
I think the bottom of the 4th inning, the 10-pitch Holiday at bat, leading off the inning, and he ends the inning with 14 pitches. If he's still in the game in the 8th inning, that's the inning, and that's the reason why.
Liner into right center, a base hit for Carpenter. 2 for 3, including a home run back in the first.
I'm sure Matt Carpenter's upset with just hitting a single, but it doesn't seem to be his MO. But the hands are just no batting gloves, which is a rarity in the game right now. But I mean, you just look at, just bring him back 4 inches. That's all you need. He has a little leg kick, not a long stride, but Kurt said he keeps his head on everything. His head rarely moves, and that's why he can cover so many different pitches.
How about, guys, that's his 7th consecutive 2-hit game. He is 14 for 30 in his last 7 games. Schill, if you were on the mound right now in your prime and he's at the plate, what are you trying to do with him?
What everybody else hasn't. I mean, they have hope. And if when guys are in streaks like that and they're driving the ball for power doubles and homers, then it's about making them hit the ball away from the barrel, as opposed to trying to make them swing and miss. And you can usually tell by the way a hitter takes a pitch how he's feeling.
And the head just doesn't move. And it stays on the ball through contact, and he follows the ball to where it's hit. I mean, it's just like Joey Votto. That's why they're both great hitters.
Back in 2013, as he draws the throw down to first, it seemed like every time you looked at the Cardinals, Carpenter was standing on second and they were starting a big inning. That was the year they hit .330 as a team with runners in scoring position, and he was in scoring position the whole season, it seemed like.
Yeah, I did. The second hitter got a base hit. They were scoring a run, it seemed like. And people question Mike Matheny. Why would you lead him off? He can't steal bases. He doesn't run. He gets on base all the time. That's why.
And I think a lot of teams have proven the stolen base to be a little bit not as big a deal as some people make it. Some teams use it as a weapon. The Royals in the postseason last year. But it's not like it used to be. These Cardinals used to be Willie McGee, Vince Coleman,
Tommy Herb.
Yeah. Tommy Herb had 100 RBIs one year with like 9 homers.
Yeah.
8, I think.
I think it was 8 and over 100 RBIs. You put it in play, and Coleman and McGee were going to score. Frazier, Phillips, Votto with a stretch, and they turn the double play on Hayward. Cincinnati, always a team with terrific defense. And now, wait a minute, are they going to decide whether or not they might ask for a replay here? Mike Matheny's looking in, and no thanks. So it is a 5-4-3 inning ending double play, 1-1 after 6. 1-1 tie going to the top of the 7th inning. A pitcher's duel between Adam Wainwright and Mike Leake. A run, 4 hits for the Reds. They've left 4. A run on 3 hits for the Cardinals. They've left 1. That was the 75th pitch of the night for Wainwright. Leake has thrown 66 through 6. As Kozar hits a ground ball to the right side, a sliding stop by Adams, and he feeds Wainwright. 1 down. Let's take a look now at tonight's pitching summary, brought to you by John Deere. Pretty impressive numbers for both guys.
You've got 12 innings out of these pitchers, 12 1/3 with about 130 pitches. I mean, this is, I always thought, Cruggy, I don't think hitters ever understood how huge of a break it was for pitchers on a one pitch out.
I think they also know, too, that both guys are in the strike zone. Both guys are going to pound the strike zone. And the only walk of this game ended up being a big walk to Todd Frazier that allowed the Reds to score.
Bosch with a fly ball right field. Hayward there, 2 down. Well, it is Marathon Day in Boston tomorrow, and this was a huge day before, obviously, for many reasons, ever since the bombings, an even bigger day than it was, and I know it's an important day in the Schilling family.
It is. My wife is running her 5th Boston Marathon for Dana-Farber for cancer research, and I'm going to tweet out a link if you want to support her, but I could not be more proud of what she's done, the time and effort and the commitment she's made, because she's running 26 miles. She asked me if I wanted to do it. I tried to explain to her I had a heart attack walking to the finish line of a marathon. I can't run one. So,
you walked the 26
No. I was just walking to the
finish line. He met her at the finish line.
To meet her.
This is her 5th marathon?
Her 5th Boston.
Her 5th Boston?
Yeah. She wants to run Europe at some point.
There's a base hit through the right side for Tucker Barnhart.
She wants to run to Europe.
Wants to run the marathon over in Paris, which I think is just an excuse to get a vacation or something.
Better get some web feed if she's going to run to Europe. But that's, I know people who run in it.
Yep.
It is, what happened there a few years ago, devastating, but it's such a joy now for, and it seems like it's taken on a new life right now with everything that happened.
The mind-boggling thing for me is to sit at that finish line and watch the United States Army, 4 to 10 guys, full packs, full gear, full everything, finish in under 4 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, as a team. 4 hours. I'm like a mile in, I think.
Here's Leake. And a swing and a miss. 2 down and a man on. Tied at 1. Top 7 here at Busch Stadium.
You ever ran 26 miles?
All at once?
That might be like a lifetime total.
No way. Absolutely no way.
I couldn't.
I have tremendous admiration for people who can do that. Leake with a fly ball and a ground out. That base hit by Barnhart snapped a streak of 12 in a row retired by Wainwright. One and 2.
The trend, though, good pitchers, that when you snap a streak, there's 2 outs. 2 outs, nobody on. Hitter gets on. But he knew coming into this inning he could have the starting pitcher leading off next inning if he got the 3 up, 3 down, and that's probably why he's going to be a little bit mad at the end of it.
Ground ball to second. And the inning is over. A base hit but nothing more. 7th inning stretch. Tied at 1. Sunday night baseball in St. Louis. favorite franchise, and who are the 4 greatest living Major League Baseball players? Go to MLB.com/franchise4 to cast your ballots. Winners will be revealed during the All-Star Game, July 14th. Let's go down to the field and talk about the Reds franchise 4. We had great response to the Kirkjian-only discussion on the field last week. There are a franchise with this history and this many Hall of Famers, this many great players. You can have quite an argument. Fellas, take it away.
I think we're in agreement this week, Tim, right? We both agree slam dunk choices in Pete Rose, Johnny Bench, Joe Morgan, and Frank Robinson, with all apologies to Barry Larkin and Tony Perez.
Right. This is a really good team, with the Reds in their history. Frank Robinson spent 11 years there. I think we forget how great he was before he went on to the Orioles. He would be my 4th pick there.
Now, my question to you is, since you called me an idiot last week, and I wonder if you're going to call me an idiot this week, I think Major League Baseball should come up with a limited reinstatement for Pete Rose. Find a way to find some rules that make them comfortable. Tell Pete Rose, look, we're not going to let you get back into baseball operations, but we're going to let you have a role with the Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, if he comes back at all, it's going to be a partial reinstatement. It'll be interesting to see exactly what he does. This thought that at age 74 he's going to manage again, sorry, I don't think that's going to happen. You've done a lot more on this. What do you think he's going to end up doing?
Well, I know this, that there have been conversations between Pete Rose's camp and the commissioner's office, but they haven't set up the meeting to decide what's going on. We know this. He'll probably play a big role, you would assume, at the All-Star game. But I think to this point, Commissioner Rob Manfred has indicated he's not sure if there's a way to find a middle ground because, as you know, the offense of gambling on baseball is considered to be number 1 in baseball.
Right, and people ask me all the time, is he going to get in the Hall of Fame? Well, baseball really doesn't have anything to do with that. That's the Hall of Fame's call, and as of now, I don't see any way anytime soon that he's getting in. He's not going to go on the writer's ballot for you and I to decide, and our group. And if he goes on to a group where there are other former major leaguers on the panel, I think he's going to have an even harder time because they're the ones who are more stringent about you don't bet on baseball, breaking the number 1 Cardinal rule.
I totally agree with you. So, Dan, to sum it up, we got through this week without Tim calling me an idiot.
Enjoy it while you can, Buster. Next week is a new week. Tied at 1, bottom 7, 2-2 the count on Matt Adams, who's 0 for 2. Do you guys think that Pete Rose has any kind of an official role at the All-Star game? Is he part of the festivities?
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And, well, he should be. I mean, you know, what he's done for the city of Cincinnati, you know, born and raised there, you know, All-Star, you know, would be a Hall of Famer if it was just going by the numbers. But yes, he will play a big part in the city during the All-Star break.
And the Hall of Fame discussion aside, I think the last 20, 30 years, baseball is not as good as it could have been with Pete in it. I think he's a tremendous ambassador to the game. He loves the game. He lives and breathes the game. I think baseball would have been better off having him around in some capacity.
If you guys had a vote, do you put him in the Hall of Fame?
I don't.
It's a tough one. People have been arguing about this for 25 years.
Only because I'm not sure he didn't bet on his own team.
I mean, he was
against his own team.
Against his own.
Right.
I don't know. And I had a chance to meet him. No, I love him to death. Nice guy. Again, I love listening to him talk about the game because he talks about it at a level that very few people can. But that's a tough one.
Well, if he doesn't get a chance to participate in the All-Star game in Cincinnati this year, in the first year of a new commissioner, it's probably never going to happen. Yeah, this is his best shot, right? Quickly, 2 down. Ground up by Holiday. Strikeout for Adams. Now Johnny Peralta 0 for 2. Ground ball down to third. Both of these pitchers are just mowing them down. End of 7. Tied at 1. the top of the 8th inning. 7-time Gold Glove Award winner Yadier Molina. Like a manager on the field, says his manager Mike Matheny, who was a heck of a catcher himself back in his day. Molina working the pitchers, working the umpires. Has caught over 11,000 innings in his major league career. And a weak ground ball to second. Schumacher retired. Let's take a look now at who's outworking them all. Brought to you by Carhartt. And over the last decade or so, nobody has worked harder behind the plate than Yadier Molina, closing in on 11,000 career innings. And you think Adam Wainwright feels comfortable? 184 starts between them. And as good a battery as there is in baseball.
Well, you're looking at what, almost 11,000 innings. Figure 4 hit an inning, 44,000 hitters, 160-some thousand pitches. The thing that blows me away is he's never put a hand down there, a finger down there without preparation, without a reason. And that's the thing I think that, so you heard Mike talk about him. He's a pitching coach on the field, and that's amazing.
Sometimes there's so much of a focus on his throwing that maybe there's not enough attention paid to what's ultimately probably a more important job for the catcher, and that's managing the pitcher.
Well, what he does is he gives you confidence in being able to not worry about the base runner, number one, but most importantly to throw pitches in the dirt and to bounce stuff in the dirt with runners on third base.
And I think another amazing thing about Yadier Molina is his offense has gotten better. His catching has always been there. But his offense, with all that preparation and working a game plan for his pitchers, his offense has improved.
Boy, what a curveball there to get Votto. 2 down.
Well, this is the reason the comments about his health coming out of camp. I think he's good. When you look at the spin and the late action, that's a power hook, number one, but he's finishing that ball. You see the finger up. He's got that back finger up that you guys do. And if Joey Votto can't pick it up, I'm going to bet that just about nobody can.
Starts Frazier with a curveball for a strike. 90 pitches on the night for Wainwright through 7 2/3. The bullpen is now active for St. Louis, though. Left-hander Kevin Segrist is up in the pen now for the Cardinals. 91 pitches for Wainwright. He's due up 4th next half inning.
This is the tough. I would never manage. I don't think I ever could manage. But one of the challenges is, for me, don't ever let your starting pitcher lose a game in the 8th and 9th inning. I think that because you want your pitchers to stay mentally in a good place. And both of these guys have pitched phenomenal ball games tonight. And if it ends now, hey, I went 7 innings. I did everything I could do, as opposed to giving up a pitch, blowing a game in the 8th or 9th.
Boy, and after 1 inning, if you had seen the first inning for Lee, there was a home run, a base hit, and 3 hard hit balls. Everything was right down the middle of the plate. But boy, did he make an adjustment after that. And there is a base hit. Todd Frazier with a 2-out single, a base runner for the Reds here in the 8th.
You feel like it's a huge victory. A single with 2 outs.
Let's go down to Buster Olney.
Hey guys, one thing to remember as we try to see if the Reds can break through and the success the Cardinals have had here. Billy Hamilton did not start this game. He leads the major leagues in stolen bases. And he came out of Saturday's game because of a groin issue. He told me before the game it was something he actually had last year, but he tested it before the game in the outfield. He said he feels great, and he told Brian Price, any way you want to use me, we can do that. He, of course, had never been thrown out by Yadier Molina, against whom he stole his first base in the big leagues.
7 for 7 a lifetime against Molina, 8 for 8 this season stealing bases. If the right situation comes up here in the late innings, we might see Hamilton pinch run. Brandon Phillips, the batter.
Here's one of the things in the National League, and we've talked about the John Lester situation with runners on first. One of the things that keeps you in a game as a National League pitcher, as a National League starter, is the ability to hold runners. Being Adams 105 to 1-2 home plate, which is a time that Yachty can make things happen.
Frazier the base runner at first. And Phillips with another base hit. And a soft liner for an RBI single back in the third. Now he's got a base hit to right here in the 8th as Frazier moves up to second.
I wonder if Mike Matheny's going to come out and bring Segrist in to face Jay Bruce. Brandon Phillips has 2 base hits in this ball game. He's yet to hit one off the barrel. That's another one off the end of the bat that just bloops over Colton Wong's head. I think you saw the respect, even though there's 2 outs, respect for the defense of Jason Hayward, because Todd Frazier, even with 2 outs, had no designs on going to third base there.
I don't know that was. This is to me where Yadi's value is so extreme, and I didn't think he was gonna. I didn't think he was holding off to get the reliever ready, but he clearly was. If I'm Adam, I'm not really happy about this right here either.
So you would rather, you said you didn't want your starter to lose a game in the 8th inning, but would you rather have a reliever come in and possibly give up a hit?
No, because number one, now your reliever feels horrible and your starter's mad. But for me, as a starter, I don't feel any less. I feel worse. I left my team in this situation.
Wainwright stays.
That's a number 1. This is where number 1 gets the out.
Jay Bruce, some good numbers against Wainwright in his career, but he is 0 for 3 tonight. 2 on, 2 out, tie game, 8th inning.
And this is where you're Todd Frazier. You have to get a big lead. Colton Wong's in shallow right. Johnny Peralta, even though he's behind you, he's back in the outfield grass. And Todd Frazier has to get a big jump right here if he wants to score on a hard hit base hit to the outfield.
Oh, just missed.
See, now that ball was a strike to a right-hander earlier in the game, and it's not. If it's out of strike zone, it's a ball. That's fine. But if it's ball 1, it needs to be ball 4, and if it's strike 1, it needs to be strike 3, and that's where your pitchers get upset, because that's a huge pitch. Oh, I'm whining.
But a 2-0 curveball with the go-ahead run out of second base.
Well, you know, even though first base isn't open, third base is, and Cozart really hasn't hit the ball hard at all in this game. Jam shot pop up to first, a grounder back to the Wainwright fielded, and a grounder to first base, and Matt Adams.
Inside, ball 3. Zach Cozart on deck for Cincinnati.
If I'm Jay Bruce, I'm looking for a curveball. He threw it 2-0. You know, 3-1 now. He doesn't care if he bounces it. He just, if you're going to chase it, chase it.
Cut her in.
Got right in on his fist. Full count.
Let's go get a new weapon, too. That one got in there deep.
Well, when you hear people talk about high leverage pitches, that's exactly what this is. This is everything you have in every single pitch, mentally and physically.
And Bruce doesn't like that bat that they brought out to him. He's going to have to go get another one. So with a full count and 2 down, this gives Frazier and Phillips a head start on the pitch. Tied at 1 in the 8th inning. Big moment here in St. Louis. Missed outside with a curveball to load the bases.
I thought both guys had a great at bat. You look at Adam staying around the corners of the strike zone and out of the middle. That was the pitch. The at bat to me was decided on that pitch in the sense that now he's pitching defensively the rest of the time. That might have been the one that Jay could have had a chance to hit, but he overthrew that curveball.
Cozart, short hopper to second. Wong finds Peralta just in time to end the inning. The Reds leave him loaded. Wainwright gets out of it. To the bottom of the 8th, still tied at 1. With MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball. At bat is up to the moment, at any moment, with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, radio broadcast, StatsCast, and more. Get MLB.com at bat now. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on more than 400 devices with MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more every night on every device. Visit MLB.TV for details. We are in the bottom of the 8th inning here on Sunday Night Baseball in St. Louis. The Reds and the Cardinals are tied at 1. Cardinals looking to sweep. John Jay, Yadier Molina, Colton Wong. 6, 7, and 8 due up for the Cardinals this inning. There is activity now in the Reds bullpen for the first time tonight. Mike Leake, like Adam Wainwright, has been outstanding tonight.
I know it's not scientifically possible, but I always felt that this was by far the hardest game of the series to win. When you won the first 2 and you were going for the sweep, it's like sweeping a doubleheader. Things just happen.
Liner into right center. A base hit and maybe more. Jay into second with a leadoff double.
But not many. Both pitchers haven't been making many mistakes lately, but this is one that got up in the zone by Mike Leake. Might have wanted to go up, but maybe a little higher than that to see if John Jay could swing underneath it and pop up. But he got it right down the center of the plate. John Jay with a great swing on it and head down as soon as he hit it, knowing that he had to hustle in for 2 because Brendan Bosch got to that ball quickly.
That was a great play.
So now Molina, do you trust him to advance the runner with a ground ball, or do you ask him to bunt?
I do.
You trust him?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
The challenge is, as a right-handed hitter, is the sinker. But can he get his hands in front of it enough to get him over?
Votto's in tight on the grass at first, and Frazier right on the edge of the grass at third. All kinds of communication now on the infield by the Reds.
Now, the thing about it is, as a pitcher, I'm extra ready to defend my position because I'm throwing the ball in and jamming as hard as I can jam him, and I'm counting on bad contact, which I got to defend the middle of the field.
Jay with a good speed out at second. Molina, for what it's worth, had one sacrifice last year, as they start to chant his name here at Busch. Chopper toward third. Frazier's only play is to first, and it'll work like a bunt as the ground out advances the runner.
That's just great base running by John Jay, because in your head you're telling yourself, if he pulls something, I can't go. I have to let it go to the right side or to the left of me taking my lead off second base. But you watch this ball, as soon as it takes that one hop, John Jay is off and running. He beats Cozart to the base. Frazier had looked back there for a second before he fielded that ball, thinking, do I have a play here? But John Jay just got a great jump off second, and now the game is on the line right here.
Infield in, Wong at the plate. Leak will work from the windup.
And here's where what do we know about Colt Wong? His maturity. He had a great postseason last year. You see that first pitch by Mike Leake, runs it in on his hands. He swings and fouls it off. Can he be patient enough right now to get a ball into the outfield?
He did. He hit it hard. Back to make the catch, Schumacher. Tagging and scoring is Jay, and the Cardinals have a 2-1 lead.
Pitched a heck of a game. One of the challenges, though, of being a ground ball guy and not being able to kind of pump it up and get the punch out when you need it is that one. That's a situation where you were looking for a pop up or a swing and a miss, and those are hard to do when your best number one is a sinker.
Mark Reynolds will bat in Adam Wainwright's spot. With Milwaukee last year, hit 22 homers. Couldn't check the swing. Fly ball, shallow center to end the inning, but the Cardinals have scratched across a run, and we're going to the ninth. St. Louis up 2-1. Welcome back to Sunday Night Baseball. Hashtag rep my team. Some of the pictures sent in by both Reds and Cardinals fans tonight. We are going to the 9th inning here at Busch Stadium in a 2-1 game. The Cardinals just scored a run in the bottom of the 8th inning. Trevor Rosenthal closed the game for St. Louis yesterday through 20 pitches. And he's not pitching tonight. Jordan Walden is in to close it. He's normally the setup guy. Rosenthal did not pitch on Friday, but evidently the 20 pitches yesterday, perhaps the reason why he is not in there tonight. So Walden, who of course has had closing experience in his career, steps into the 9th inning here tonight to try to give the Cardinals a sweep over the Reds. Brendan Bosch will lead it off for Cincinnati. Tucker Barnhart is on deck, and then the pitcher spot. John Jay with a double in the 8th, moving to 3rd on a ground ball by Yadier Molina, scoring on a sac fly by Colton Wong. That is the difference in the game right now. That's a fair ball. And by the time Adams can get there, Bosch is standing at first. A leadoff base hit here in the top of the 9th inning.
Normally in a 1-run lead, you'd be really close to that line. Adams just a little bit off, but it's a great effort right there to knock it down and keep Brendan Bosch at first base. He doesn't draw any leather on that ball. It gets down in that corner, and I don't care how good a defender Jason Hayward is. That ball was hit too hard for him to get and cut it off.
And remember, we were told. I'm sorry, Croc. Remember, we were told Billy Hamilton that he's healthy enough to run.
Oh, he must not be.
He must not be, because otherwise he would be right now. Barnhart bunts through it.
Especially in this situation, Crocky, you don't have to get a good bunt down.
Yeah, you can let him steal, then let Barnhart just try to pull a ball and get him over.
Yep.
Or bunt him then to get him to 3rd.
And now Barnhart wants to talk to Jim Riggleman, his third base coach, to make sure he is square with the signs. Kevin Segrist is up again, the left-hander with the Cardinals pen. Squares again, pulls it back, and it's a ball and a strike.
Now here's the interesting thing. Okay, it's 1-1 now. He bunted through one, and he took a pitch. So now he got the count to even. You wonder here, Brian Price might say, you know what? Let's roll the dice and try to put Bosch in motion. Try to sneak at 1st and 3rd on him.
Showed bunt, throw to 1st.
Yadier Molina thinking right along with me, which you might have to question Yadier on that one. But
could be getting a little older. But I honestly, actually, now that you say it, I think Yadi might be the reason Hamilton's not in the game. If you think about taking the chance, I mean, he's as good as anybody at throwing.
Ball 2.
But he hasn't yet thrown out Hamilton.
No,
so.
He's clearly not 100% because he'd be sitting on 1st.
But you wonder if Barnhart can get him over to 2nd base, then do you bring Billy Hamilton in to run for Bosch at 2nd base?
But you know, I always wondered, I heard managers talk about you don't play for the tie on the road.
Bunted foul, 2-2. So you're thinking if they get another guy on, like if Barnhart were to reach, then maybe Hamilton runs for him?
I think what Crucky's saying is that as soon as the runner's in scoring position, we see Hamilton. And I would say that's because of the guy behind the plate as much as anything.
Yeah, and with his speed, being on 1st base, he is in scoring position. Absolutely. Because he can steal 2nd.
Yep. And again, our assessment of whether or not Hamilton is healthy enough to play is based on what Brian Price told us before the game. That it was a very slight groin problem, and he is good to go if they need him tonight.
Well, we're not doctors?
No. Thankfully. Full count. Riggleman flashing the signs.
Now do you trust the young man in Barnhart to be able to put the ball in play, or to take a pitch that's not a strike and not swing at it and take your walk to set Bosch in motion?
Runner going. Pitch swung on and missed. Throw down. And safe at second is Bosch with a stolen base.
That's not Yadi's fault. That was a good throw. You had a guy at 1-4 to home plate right there. You can't give that, especially in this situation.
And Jordan Walden's a guy that has, we talked about it, that high leg kick.
Yep.
Jumps at you, so that takes a little longer to deliver the ball to home plate. I've been watching Brennan Bosch, and when he was with the Tigers, I never realized he was this fast. He can run. I mean, you see Walden right there.
He didn't get a good jump either.
He didn't get a good jump, but even though it was a shorter leg kick by Walden, still the fact that he jumps toward home takes a lot of time, and he delivers the ball. It takes him a long time. And Yadier thinks if he threw it on the base perfectly, he would have had Bosch, but it was a little bit to the shortstop side of second base, and that's how Bosch got in there.
You see that the last 10 stolen bases, Reds are successful against Molina. I'll go to the mound on just about every time. That's on the pitcher and not the catcher as much as anything.
So Bosch into scoring position. The tying run with the one out here in the 9th inning, and the pinch hitter is Brian Pena, batting in the pitcher spot. Switch hitting catcher. First pitch swinging, he pops it up for Carpenter at third. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Defect to the next generation of breakfast. Wake up, live Mott's. And in part by BMW. We only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine.
And we have to give Matt Adams a lot of credit for knocking that ball down by Bosch. If not, he would be on third base right now. And of course, Pena pops up that wouldn't have brought him in, but still being on third base is a lot different than being on second with 2 outs.
Swing and a miss at 96 for Skip Schumacher, and it's 0-1. Ground ball to Adams, and the Cardinals sweep the Reds. What a well-pitched game. What an incredibly fast game. As Wainwright and Leak are both terrific, but it's the Cardinals who emerge victorious 2-1 and sweep the Reds in a game that lasted 2 hours and 2 minutes. Pitch Hit and Run presented by Scott's is the official youth skills competition of Major League Baseball. It's free for boys and girls ages 7 to 14. Play your way to the national finals and have the chance to compete during All-Star Week in Cincinnati. Find a local competition in your area at pitchhitrun.com. Catch up with all the latest baseball news with Baseball Tonight tomorrow at 5:30 Eastern on ESPN2, and then tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on ESPN. It'll be the Yankees and the Tigers. For John Kruk, Kurt Schilling, and Buster Olney, I'm Dan Schulman, saying thanks for watching, and so long from Busch Stadium, where the Cardinals have defeated the Reds 2-1. It is time for Sports Center. Let's send it to John Buchagras and Steve Levy.